guys, and welcome to the second part of the Coffin Hero Show today, where we go through all of the single issues that are out and hitting the racks this week. So of course this is what's going on to the racks. There may be other titles out this week that are in pull lists, for example, but again, we don't always order everything. You know, we always have to take educated guesses, what people are after, make sure we have the major titles in, that kind of thing. But pull lists really are the best way to guarantee issues. So if you need a pull list set up with us, just get in touch with us and we'll sort that for you. So a couple of wee bits and pieces just to kick things off in terms of some cool variants. Our order was a little bit up and down again this week, as always. But so for example, one of the major releases out this week is What If Dark Moon Knight. Now we don't have any cover A's for the racks. All the pull lists are taken care of. But we have copies coming later in the week. But if you prefer a nice variant, we do have a couple of lovely ones. So there is Corey Smith, first of all, for this one shot, What If Dark Moon Knight. And then we also have Carlos Magno on variant duties as well. Moving away from that and on to Something Is Killing the Children, a rather beautiful variant from Dan Mora, of course one of the store's favorite artists, and you can clearly see why with artwork like that. These were due a couple of weeks ago, but they've finally come in and they're every bit as lovely as I thought they would be. So Conan #1 came out recently. This was a foil variant for it, which of course is taken from the Arnold Schwarzenegger classic movie. So very limited number of these, but they are absolutely glorious. We got the second print variant in this week for the Incredible Hulk. So if you're playing catch up, if you missed issue 1, first of all, why did you miss it? Because it was awesome. But if you are playing catch up, this is the second printing variant by Nick Klein. And then we finish off with Daredevil #14. This is the 1/25 retailer incentive variant by Lionel Yu, and this of course is Chip Zdarsky's last issue, which we'll get to in a second. So moving on to the single issues out this week. So we kick things off with Batman Superman World's Finest. So Mark Waid continuing with his great stuff. Look at that beautiful Dan Mora cover once again. We have Batman White Knight presents Generation Joker. We're up to as far as issue 4 for the tie-in series to White Knight. I absolutely love Sean Murphy's design for Mr. Freeze. I think that's absolutely class. Next up, it's just a week of great covers. Next up is Harley Quinn Black, White and Redder by another favourite artist in the store, Chris Samney. You may notice we have quite a few favourite artists. But this, of course, is continuing on the anthology title, Harley Quinn Black, White and Redder, and this is issue 2. We have issue 2 out this week of Hawkgirl. So continuing on with this mini-series, 6 issues in total, issue 2 this week. Then we move into Night Terrors. So there's the usual 5 titles in this week. I should say that we were waiting on our copies of Night Terrors Robin. Again, they were missed this week, just as they were missed last week. The constant joys of dealing with Diamond Comic distributors. But they will be in at some point soon, and obviously pull lists will be taken care of with those. But this week we have Night Terrors Catwoman. Of course, these are all #2s this week, so all of these tie-in series were all 2 issues. So this is the end of them. So Night Terrors Catwoman. We have Night Terrors Nightwing, Night Terrors Punchline, Night Terrors Superman, and we finish off with a lovely Jay Lee cover for Night Terrors Wonder Woman. So those 5 in this week. A title coming out soon that looks really, really good is coming from Tom King. I think the artist on it is Stefano Raffaele, and that is The Penguin. Well, before that comes out, there is a 0 issue just to bring you up to speed with the current state of where the Penguin is in Gotham. So this is called Penguin Takes Flight. So this is collecting together previously released material. I believe it was through the Batman main series. So Chip Zdarsky writing and Belen Ortega on art. But if you want to play catch up, that's the issue to do it with before the Tom King one starts. We have Tales of the Titans Raven. So Tini Howard for this. So these are all, again, 4 issues in total, a series of one-shots, and each one focusing on a different member of the Titans. We have The Vigil, issue 4. So Ram V, Dev Pramanik, excuse my pronunciation. We're up to issue 4. This is awesome. This is so good. Again, part of this We Are Legends lines, of which I have to say all the titles have been strong. Next up, we're moving on to Marvel. We kick things off with Alien #5. So Declan Shelby continuing to write a great Alien Meets the Thing story. Andrea Picardo on art for that. We have a new title this week with Marvel, which is Alpha Flight. So #1, Ed Brisson, Scott Podlewski on art. Issue 1, part of the Fall of X storyline. Speaking of Fall of X, we got top-ups this week of Children of the Vault. Sold out last week, so more copies back in stock. We had mentioned, of course, the last issue of Chip Zdarsky's Daredevil. So this is the cover A, Marco Cicchetto, who of course has been the main series regular artist, and Chip finishing off his run there and finishing off his Marvel work, I think, there in general with that. So I'll be curious to see what happens moving forward. Also from Fall of X, we have Dark X-Men. So again, another brand new #1 this week. Really enjoyed Death of Venomverse #1. #2 hits this week, so Cullen Bunn continuing with that. Rafa Sandoval on art. Yeah, really cool issue 1. That actually quite surprisingly good. Next up we have Ghost Rider, which is #17, but it's part of this Weapons of Vengeance crossover, so part 2. So last week we had the Ghost Rider Wolverine issue 1, Weapons of Vengeance. That was part 1. This is part 2. Wolverine will be part 3, and so on and so forth. But yeah, gorgeous cover there as well by Ryan Stegman there. Next we have Loki. We're up as far as issue 3 then for the Dan Waters and Jermaine Peralta miniseries. Excuse my bad Brooklyn Nine-Nine joke. So this is continuing on that, as I say, second last issue. We have Spider-Man from Dan Slott. On a cover, of course, we have Spider-Boy and Spider-Man. Spider-Boy is going to be getting his own spin-off title soon. Keep an eye out for that. But we're up as far as issue 11 of Spider-Man. We also got in more copies of the Spider-Man Annual, which came out last week. Again, we only received half our copies last week. The other half have come this week. So this is part of the whole Contest of Chaos stuff, and that is a one-shot annual. Part of the Dark Droid storyline, we have Darth Vader, issue 37 this week. So Greg Pak continuing to work away on that. Next up is the Uncanny Avengers, which is again part of the Fall of X stuff. Quite the interesting team put together here, with Cap, of course, at the forefront. I am in shock because Keith has this in his pull list, and Deadpool is on the cover. Wonders will never cease. Moving on to indie stuff, we have Astrobots, first of all. So this is quite similar, in the same wheelhouse, shall we say, as Transformers. But it's been a lot of fun. Simon Furman and Hector Truenig on that, up as far as issue 4. That's published through Whatnot Publishing. We have issue 2 of Barnstormers, which is the Tula Lotay and Scott Snyder, originally part of the Comixology digital event last year, but now again coming into print. In terms of #1s, we have a nice new one here called The Cull. This is from Kelly Thompson and Mattia De Ulias on art. Hassan Otsman Eloa on letters, one of the best letters in the game. It's a name you'll see in a lot of comics, to be honest. So you have brand new #1. Also a brand new #1 part of the Disney villain range is Disney Villains Hades, of course voiced by James Woods in Hercules. But continuing on with those Disney Villains ones, we're up as far as issue 4 for Maleficent. So solely on that. We have the new John Layman and Jock, not that one, title called In Hell We Fight, so issue 3 of that. This is one I got in, which is Welcome to Lovecraft Lock and Key. So this is a 15th anniversary reprint called the Only Bad Edition of Lock and Key #1. It also contains an alternative ending. It contains some script work, some sketches, things like that. If you've never read Lock and Key, it's genuinely one of the best comics from the last 15-20 years. Joe Hill and Gabriel Rodriguez. And again, this is a reprint of issue 1, so if you want to dip in, give it a go before committing to the trades. Next up, this is from Boom Studios. They've started doing these pen and ink editions, which are essentially just the comics before they're colored. It's sort of a process edition type thing. They did it before, what was the previous title? They did it for Something's Killing the Children. Now they're doing it for Many Deaths of Lila Starr, one of our favorite books of the last few years. And then they've got one coming out soon of Berserker as well. Next up is Rare Flavors. Now it's been called Tasting Menu. It's a Aishkan now. What an Aishkan is basically almost like a preview for an upcoming series. So there's going to be this new series from Ram V. Felipe Andrade, of course the team who did Many Deaths of Lila Starr. And this is basically like a smaller version of it that is giving you a preview of what's coming. Comes with a smaller price point, a £3 price point. But this is your first introduction to this world. Really looking forward to tucking into that. Next up is Something Epic. So we're continuing on with the Simon Kudransky title. We're up as far, I believe, as issue 4. Very imaginative stuff there. Next up we have Sonic the Hedgehog, number 63. We're going to be getting more and more Sonic comics in because they do get requested for quite a lot and prove very popular in the store. Speaking of anniversary editions, we have Wanted, the special 20th anniversary edition. This was a series by Mark Millar and J.G. Jones. One of, if not the first Miller World title, I believe. Of course, got translated into a movie with Angelina Jolie and James McAvoy. Rather good movie. But this again is a 20th anniversary reprint of issue 1, and again comes with those supplemental extras. And then we finish off the new single issues this week with Void Rivals number 3, the introduction to the Energon universe that of course Robert Kirkman and Lorenzo Di Felici have been working on so far. So that is it. All of those ones will be going on the racks this week. As I say, all pull lists are already done, ready for collection. So pop in and grab those whenever suits. And yeah, as ever, I hope this proves useful for you. It's always nice getting a little preview of what's coming out and what's going on the racks before you come down. So again, hope this proved useful. I look forward to seeing you in the store soon. Take it easy.